Okay, so this is one of the speakers that I bought. It's Alpine 610 SC. It was a middle of the road speaker. I didn't look for anything too fancy, but it is a 6.5-inch speaker. That's the size we're going to use. If you notice that when I hold it up to the door here, it doesn't really, I can kind of pick one side or the other. We're going to use the old speakers as mounting brackets. I'm too cheap to buy mounting brackets. Alright guys, we're going to make this speaker into a new mounting bracket for the new speaker. This is the one I removed from the driver's side of my 2007 pickup truck. I'm going to take an Alpine knife and cut away the foam that's around the outside here. Once that's done, I'm actually going to cut this speaker baffle out. And get it out of the way. I'll cut the back of this as well. I know this speaker is toast, so I don't really worry about damaging it per se. That's free there, and we're left with my stable mounting bracket here. I am going to cut away all these little tabs in here. I'm going to remove the lip that's on here, so we aren't going to be using that, and we'll go from there. I'm going to use a flush cut saw for that. Right, I'm just going to take the Alpine knife and clean it up a little bit. Any high spots, you want it to be as flat as possible. But I wouldn't worry too hard if you have a couple high spots. When you fit up the speaker, you'll find out if you're too high or not. I'm also going to remove all last traces of this kind of sticky gasket left over from the foam, and like that. Okay, now that we've got the gasket removed, everything cleaned up here, I'm going to remove all of the kind of arms that hold up the speaker base. I'm just going to use the saw from my Leatherman here. It gets into really tight spaces nice, and it's sharp enough. So. Okay, now that we've got all the arms free, you can just pull that off. We are going to save this piece. I don't really care about this one, so I'll get rid of it. I'm going to clean up all the inside edges here where the saw didn't cut as close as we need it to be. So don't worry about it. Just use a pair of side cutters or Alpine knife, or even the saw again to clean that up. Just make sure there's nothing sticking in the inside there. Alright, so what I've done so far is taken the speaker mount we've just finished cutting flush and put some painter's tape on there. It doesn't need to be perfect, you don't need to cover everywhere. It just needs to be there so you can see your marks you're going to make for the holes to mount the speaker. I'm just going to take a knife and cut away any painter's tape on the inside so I can still fit the speaker in there. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, just as long as it does the trick. I'm going to put the speaker on there and center it fairly closely. Again, doesn't need to be perfect, but you can get it as close as you can. And then mark the holes that you're going to drill. I'm going to do 4 spots. Right on. Now that you've got those holes, I'm going to use a 1/8 drill bit, and I'm going to use number 8 by 1 inch long machine screws with a nut on the back to attach the speakers. So I'll go ahead and drill the holes. It's best just to drill one to start. And then you can put a screw in there to kind of hold it in place while you're drilling the other holes. Just line that up, drop her back in there, and then we can drill the rest of the holes without worrying about the speaker moving. So here's the speaker mounted in the new frame here. I used the number 8 1 inch Robertson machine bolts. See, it's fairly well centered on there, I think. And we're going to reuse the factory mounting holes when we put it back on. So I used a nut and a lock washer on the back side, and just for good measure I threw a little Loctite on there. A little overkill perhaps, but it'll do the trick well, I think.